Absolutely beautiful. I'd like for us to now shift the conversation to a few quick fire questions, another opportunity for us to get to know you a little bit better. And as a sport administrator, I would love to start off with this question. What are some of the global sporting events specific to women that you would love to be hosted in South Africa?
Look, having attended the 2019 Women's FIFA World Cup, I'd definitely love to see that come to South Africa. I'd like to see the Women's Rugby World Cup come to South Africa as well. What else? Yeah, I think those are my top two, the football and the Rugby World Cup. Not that I'm putting other sports down. Look, we've got the 2023 World Cup, the Netball World Cup, which is awesome. It's absolutely awesome. So, yeah, I think that for me, those are the top two.
Absolutely beautiful. Let's talk about some interesting local and international athletes. Now, you currently manage an agency, and what are some of the athletes, at least maybe internationally or locally, that you would love to have on your books at the moment?
Look, I think everybody who knows me knows that, and yes, he's male, but I think Paul Pogba is like literally my favorite footballer. And Cassie, you agree with me there. I think, and people always say it's just because it's just about football, but it's, you know, one of my top things is that I'd love to have coffee with Paul Pogba. And it's purely because even as a footballer, look, he's magical on his feet. He's absolutely, I watched him the other night as well, and absolutely magical on his feet. But I also think it's the way that he stands up, not just for himself, but for players of color, you know. I mean, this is an athlete that has some of the best contracts in the world, but is not afraid to say, when I'm doing a media interview, I don't drink alcohol, so I don't want alcohol on the table. You know, it takes a very strong person to do that. But it's also the way that he carries himself out. Paul Pogba is Muslim, and I mean, you know, he never shies away from it, that he's Muslim. He never shies away from his religion because today it's fashionable and tomorrow it's not. And I take a lot from that. I really admire him for that, you know, his personality trait. And over and above how hard he works to be where he is, you know, today. From a local perspective, I think, look, we have amazing athletes in South Africa. I don't think we at a level where we can say, you know, we part of the best leading agencies in the world. But at the same time, what we can say is that there's so much more. I think for me, I don't even think it would be about how we get like the top athletes. It's like for me going and finding a young black girl who's doing ice hockey and managing her and helping her navigate through that difficult space, you know. I think that for me would be the ultimate challenge.
Absolutely beautiful. Touching on Paul Pogba, is it safe to say that you're a Manchester United and a France fan?
Most definitely. But I'm also a Brazilian fan. Brazil is one of my top teams. But yes, definitely a Manchester United. It's difficult times at the moment, but yeah, it is what it is.
True. Such as football, your ups and your downs. I would love to touch on some of your travel experiences. Now, you've traveled several countries. What is the country that really stands out for you, at least in terms of memories and the experiences that you had in the country?
I think Italy and the Seychelles. Look, Dubai is one of my most favorite cities in the world, you know, but I think my experiences in Italy were absolutely amazing. I loved the Seychelles and I loved it for its authentic island life. You know, it's not commercialized in any way. There's just that authentic island life. You go there and you just get lost, and that's it.
Absolutely beautiful. Hopefully someday I'll get to go to the Seychelles. But let's end off this segment with this particular question. Now, as you've mentioned, there are phenomenal female athletes in South Africa. Who are some of your favorites and maybe some of your favorite international female athletes?
I'll start internationally. I would say Serena Williams tops the list for me.
Yeah.
Again, she's been one of the most longest standing female tennis champions in the world. She's been through the most. She's also one of the most bullied athletes in the world. So, but her resilience and how she's able to always just reinvent herself and come back, I think we could all learn so much from that and from how she carries herself. But also in a time where if she loses, it's never about I've lost and let me feel sorry for myself. She's always the first to congratulate her opponent. And that says a lot about her as an athlete and as a person. I think locally, I hope I don't leave anybody out. There's literally so many. I mean, 𝗙𝗹𝗹𝗶𝗹 is on top there. You've got 𝗀𝗙cie𝗰𝗶𝗹, you've got Linda, you've got, I've got 𝗀cie𝗰𝗶𝗹, I've got 𝗀𝗙𝗋𝗋, the runner, I've got Caitlin, the gymnast. There's just so many. There really is so many. I think South Africa has amazing female athletes and amazing athletes, that produce some of the best results. And I think we really could be right on top with the rest of the world. So, yeah.
Absolutely beautiful. And trust me, it's okay. You don't have to feel bad for leaving anybody out. We completely understand that South Africa has a lot of phenomenal female athletes as well. You're locked onto the Sport MVT Insider, a podcast for unrelenting coverage of women in sport. Coming up this Friday, our athletes, coaches, and administrators answer the questions that you have always wondered about. If you haven't sent through your questions yet, just slide into our DMs, tell us your name, where you're from, and leave your questions, and we will make sure that we ask them. Keep it locked onto Sport MVT, where we celebrate women in sport.